Hello, 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 everyone. It's Kim from K&RP here in snowy, blowy Manitoba. We have a blowing snow advisory in effect. It is currently minus 17 Celsius, but it feels like minus 29, which means it's 1 degree Fahrenheit, but it feels like minus 20. It's not a nice day out there. It's just not a nice day out there. Anyway, I would like to apologize for not being here for the last couple of streams. Not much warning. Last Wednesday morning at about 9 o'clock, Ron and I decided we were going to take a road trip to go visit his sister, who is halfway across well, she lives on the West Coast, but she was visiting her son, which is like halfway between there and here. So we figured we would take a quick road trip to go visit her and see the new baby, her new grandson. And so we decided about 9 o'clock Wednesday morning, and we were on the road just after 11. Hey, Jan, nice to see you. So we did a mad dash over to Alberta, spent a night halfway between the two places, but on the way back, because we were expecting this blowing snow stuff to be here Sunday, we decided to push through on Saturday so we didn't get caught in it, and then it waited anyway. So it's really nice to see you guys here. I'm glad that Belinda, Marguerite, Pixie, oh, good. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you. Yeah. So it was a totally impromptu kind of trip out to BC. No, Alberta, sorry. We were in Strathmore, and it was, we used to do that kind of stuff, travel that way just for dinner or coffee sometimes before we had kids. But I mean, our kids are in their 40s now, so it's been a long time since we've done it, and we've learned that 12 hours in the car just doesn't suit our poor old bods anymore. Okay, today we're going to do napkins. That's what we pulled last week, napkins. So before we start, let's pull what's going to happen next week. I need a color: pink, red, blue, brown, natural, purple. Whoa! It's going to be a day. Green, pink, red, blue. And the ladies had said that they would like to do the print in on Sunday. Jasper, Marguerite, if you could, I sent you a private message. Marguerite, couldn't find you. Yeah, flying, we could spend just as long in airports. Exactly. Blue? Jan says blue. Okay. Whoop. Bookmarks. Next week we're going to be making bookmarks. That's going to be fun. So napkins can go in the used, and here we go. So, I don't know what you guys would like to do with napkins. I'm sure that you have all used napkins at one time or another. But those of you who have not used napkins, when you get a napkin, sometimes you get these ones that aren't printed right through. And other times you get these lovely ones that are full pattern. So you never know what you're going to get, because this is the piece that shows on the front. You embedded email. Okay, it's not. I didn't send it in email, Margaret. I tried to find you in Facebook Messenger, so I don't know if you were there. So napkins usually come 2 or 3 ply. So to take them apart, because you don't want to use all 3 or 2 layers, you just take a piece of tape and you stick it and you pull a piece of the back off. And then they come apart really nicely, so that you just have a single layer. This is the nice thing about working with napkins. You get a really thin layer and really decorative and a lot of fun. Hey, Pam, nice to see you. You're on Facebook? Okay, I'll try again, Marguerite. Because the print is this Sunday, starting at 10:30 Central in the morning, 10:30 a.m. Central. And yeah, so I'd just like to touch base and let you know how I thought that I would like to get it happening. So when I've got something like this, I like to glue it down onto just a plain piece of paper because then I can cut out all these elements because they're kind of fun, you know, the nail polish and mascara and lipstick and stuff. So that's what I would do with something like this. I would just glue it down or Mod Podge. Ah, thanks, Andrea. Thank you, thank you. Um, Mod Podge it down to a piece of paper so that I could cut it out. It's too bad these glasses aren't whole, but that's okay. You know, some of them are off the edge, but you can still get quite a few nice elements out of it. So I want to show you that kind of napkin. I'm not going to use that one just yet. Then we have these other kinds of napkins that they're fully printed, but they're in little blocky sections. These are absolutely fabulous for doing little tags and stuff in your journals, right? But I'm going to show you a trick I like to do with these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it across here, and then we're just going to Mod Podge it or glue it down to a piece of paper. If you do not have Mod Podge, you can use a mixture of water with white glue, liquid glue. You can also use glue sticks. What I like to do is get the paper wet and then lay the napkin down on it instead of getting the napkin all wet, if that makes sense. The little white things. Oh, we've got blowing snow advisory here. It's crazy cold. Schools are closed in the area. Yeah, so I have white glue and water because I use it for various things. I'm just going to give it a stir with this mucky stick because the glue does have a tendency to settle. Yeah, schools are closed due to the ice on the roads. I was supposed to be having a family dinner today, but due to the roads, my kids would rather not travel on the highways, and I don't blame them because I don't even want to travel on the highways. Why go, why put yourself at risk if you don't have to? So that is now postponed for tomorrow. Thanks for the gold stars. You're awesome, Andrea. I appreciate everybody's thumbs up. Okay, so I'm giving this a stir. This, like I say, this is white glue and water. Eat via Zoom. Hi, Sherry. Welcome. We're doing napkins. I'm going to be gluing this onto some paper, just some white paper. I've got lots of scrap paper. This was a zine. I tried scanning it into my computer, and it scanned really weird off to the side. Anyway, I'm going to use this white piece of paper. And of course, this isn't all going to fit on the paper, but I definitely want these two hearts. Definitely want those two hearts. When it's got this edge, I don't know how well you can see it. What they do is they press the edges down so that the papers stay together, and it gives it a bit of a texture. Hey, Jean, nice to see you. So I'm just going to slather this onto, oh, look. I was all prepared, and I thought, yeah, I got to get a paintbrush. And did I bring a big paintbrush out? No, I did not. We're just going to have to use this one. I've got a 1/2 inch flat here, and we're just going to get stuff all down. And you know what? I'm going to get paint and glue on this mat, my cutting mat. Doesn't necessarily wash off all the time really great, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. If it was meant to be clean, I would have moved it, right? So, you know how it is. So yeah, I was still working on my 100-day project while we were off and running. Because we left so fast, it was such a quick decision. I grabbed my to-go thing and a couple of black markers, like Sharpies, and my white gel pens and my bin of gel pens. Totally didn't bring glue or scissors, so we had to go to a Dollarama. Well, actually, we ended up at a Walmart, and I ended up buying glue and scissors. I just need to make sure that this is all wet so it will stick. Hey, Anne, welcome. Nice to see you. So we are going to take it and try and do it as flat. It puckers. We don't have any choice. Sometimes there's a trick to it. Probably if I put it face down onto it, it wouldn't pucker as much. But now we're just going to go on the top and gently add glue to the top because we want it to soak and hold really, really well. If you use Mod Podge, you would do the same thing. It's like a decoupage kind of effect. Takes a little bit longer, but you know what? It's okay. We got time, right? We got time. I'm not too worried about the lanterns. I'm more concerned about the little pictures so that I can use them on cards or as cards, depending. I'm having a lovely day in spite of the snow. I'm glad that we made it home, for sure. I'm definitely trying to get this lantern. And of course, it's bubbling up a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. I know that there's probably a real good trick for making sure that it's flat, but you know what? I like that texture. I like the little ripply effects. I don't know. I like it. It adds that little bit more interest, I think. So did you guys have a good weekend? I spent all of Sunday in bed with a good book. Because I had sat for so long, my hips were absolutely aching by the time we got home. And it was very uncomfortable to sit. So I had an absolute slug day. Sometimes, you just got to do that. Stay in bed with a book for a day. I don't know. It just kind of rejuvenates you. Hey, Hooey. Yeah, exactly. So I've got it all wet glued down. We're going to put it to the side and let it dry. Actually, I put it on the stool underneath my desk. Oh, guys, remember all that collage fodder I did for the 100-day project? And I had it all separated into little cups and organized. It was organized. It was really, really organized. Hey, Barbara, nice to see you. So I had it in a carry-all tote thing because I was moving it around, and I kicked it off, and now I have all my bits like this. All my collagey bits for the 100-day project are now in a bin like this. You know what I said? I bet you do. Okay, so we've got that one done because I want to cut out all the little pieces. Now, the other thing I like to do with it is take these thin strips of paper, and the fun thing about using these is if you do them and press them down, you get, especially if you've got a napkin that has a really heavy pattern like this. When you cut these little strips back out after, they've got a lovely pattern on them. They make great backgrounds for edgings. They make great belly band backgrounds. They're covered, they're fast, they're simple. So we're just going to do that. I'm just going to take this piece of blue, and you know what? I've got a glue paper here. We're just going to glue it on the paper so that That's another way to use up these silly thin strips that we collect. I collect. Look at that. Upside down on my shirt. What do you think of that? Okay, and you know what? I'm putting it on this textured part. I'm just laying it down. I'm just going to make sure that it's not stuck to my desk. I will come back and glue the other side. I have a few of these, so I might as well just do them while I've got them. Hey, Malia, welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. Sharon, I sent you a messenger. I sent you a message in Messenger regarding the print in on Sunday. If you could please reply, that would be awesome. Sunday, we would like to do a print in where we each have our gel plates, and we're going to do it live. Make sure it's not stuck down, but it's stuck down. Candy? Who's got candy? I like candy. So yeah, we had a lovely, lovely visit with Ron's sister. I haven't seen her in at least 10 years, probably, maybe 10 years. I haven't traveled for about 10 years. And we saw her son. We haven't seen him for 20 years. So it was a really nice visit. Met his wife and his 2-year-old and their newborn. Got my baby fix. It was lovely to sit and hold a 1-day-old infant, 2-day-old infant. Okay, why am I stuck here? What did I, that's okay. That's okay. Okay, so now we've got it like that. We're just going to come, we can see where the strips of paper are because it's blue. There's method to my madness. I like it. I've got another scrap of glue. So I'm just going to go on top of those strips. Make sure that it's down really nice. And you know what? I really like the blue behind because with napkins, they're so translucent that you can see what's behind them. Toffee? Awesome. I like toffee. Actually, my absolute favorite is black licorice. Love black licorice, and I love lemon. Lemon and black licorice. Very strange. All right. So we've got that. So when this is dry, we will cut these strips, and you will see how much fun they are just to have these little strippy things to work on. I'll put that there to dry. So then you get things like this napkin. Didn't get a message on Messenger from me? Is it in your hidden messages because we haven't conversed on Messenger yet? I know. Black and white straight boiled sugar mix? Mint. Okay. Nice. So when you get something like this, these are a lot of fun to work with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just do this section. I'm going to cut it and show you what I do with things like this. I have done in the past. I don't think I can get this whole thing on a piece of paper, but we're going to try our hardest. Mint is good. It is. Okay, this is my glue paper. I'm throwing stuff on the floor. We don't want to do that because I have plans for this stuff. Thought I had another. Okay, this was a glue paper. I don't know if you can see it. It's really yucky from all the glue. I'm going to use that and put this on. I definitely want these bigger flowers. Yes. Okay, so again, we're just going to slather paint on the paper. This isn't paint, this is glue and water. Oh, look, totally missed. I'm trying to hurry this part because I know that you guys all know how to glue. And I didn't want to prepare too much so that if there was anybody who hasn't used napkins or is just learning to use napkins, I'm hoping that this is going to be enough of an instruction that it will work for them. Again, you can use Mod Podge if you have it. You could use glue stick if you have it. The thing with using glue stick is the top of the napkin is not protected then. And if you are using it as a background with a pocket in front, I have had my napkins actually rip in my journal pages because it doesn't have that extra glue protection or Mod Podge protection on top. So this is why making sure that everything's wet. Everything needs to be wet. Everything needs to be wet. The non-printed ones, yes, they are definitely fun to use. I was going to show a couple of ideas for using those as well. Oi, 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 let go. Are you going to rip on me? Please don't rip. Please don't rip. Please don't rip. It's scrunched. I managed to semi-save it. I still have some texture from the wet glue and the paper. But that's fine, fine, fine. Yes, they do come out better with all the glue. So basically, I just want these two big flowers. So I'm just going to make sure these are done, and I'm not going to worry about much else at the moment. At the moment. Uh-oh. And you have to be a little bit gentle because you can rip the top of the napkin. Oh, look, this bottom part dried. And I do want that stuff down. Okay, so I do want this part here. There is method to my madness, guys. I'll be honest, there really is. All right, there we go. There we go. So about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, I managed to catch a lady making paper. She was on YouTube, and it was very interesting to me. I've made paper in the past. You know, you put the stuff in the blender and you blend it all up and you press it in the screen and like that. And you make some interesting paper. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Barbara. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. We need a song for licorice. Yes. Yeah, I like the thumbs. Thank you. Okay, so this one we have to also put to dry. Everything's there to dry. Now, way back when I first started up doing my lives, I have this one too. I thought that I would like to use. But this one, I think what I'm going to do with is because I'm still doing the 100-day project. I think today I'm going to do a zine. So I'm just going to be tearing it up and putting it on the pages of the zine. Because I don't know if I showed you guys that I bought that stack of paper, 25 pieces of paper at the dollar store. Well, it's really thin. It is so thin. Like it's really, really thin. Yes, Anne, that's exactly it. What she was doing. Okay, anyway, this is going to go in my zine, bouncing around like a rabbit. Okay, so what she did was she took the linings of the napkins and she used her Cuttlebug, like those roll um, die cut machines. You use them for embossing and for die cutting. Yeah, fancy cutter, die cut machine. So then she took it and she had her plates and she spritzed it with some water mixed with a little bit of cornstarch. Little bit of cornstarch. So that she would have it on the plate and then she would fold it over, give it another spritz, put a couple more layers on. Then she put it between, like she put it through the machine and pressed it really, really hard. And it made a big mass of water. I don't want to do it on my desk because I've got lots of stuff I don't want to get wet. I'm going to try it over on my other table, but I don't have a camera over there. Um, but she put it through. She had like three or four. What did she use? Three pieces of backing or two pieces of backing. But once it was folded and pressed, and all the water came out, and then she took it off and laid it on towels to dry, and they came out absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. She sprinkled some flower seeds in some. She took some little bits. You know how we get those really tiny, scrappy bits of paper that even I throw out? Like the shreds of paper. So then she took some of that shredded paper stuff and put it between them. Again, every layer she spritzed a little bit of that cornstarch water on and she pressed it and it came out absolutely lovely, Anne. Absolutely lovely. Lovely. Oh, Belinda, are you having a bad day? What am I missing? I'm just blathering and yapping, and chat has been flying. Are you having a bad day, Belinda? I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, you know what, Barbara? I've tried it with the plastic wrap. I can't handle the smell, unfortunately. How are you doing, Barbara? I know that you've been having a heck of a time lately, too. Yeah. All right. I hope I haven't missed anybody. Hello to everybody who's come in. Chat is zooming. Hi, Anina. Nice to see you. So, anyway, she put them through the Kettlebug, pressed it, water oozed out everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Is that the one, Jean? Jean, was that the one for the paper through the Kettlebug? Okay, thank you very much, Jean. You're a sweetheart. I so appreciate you. Yeah, so anyway, it was really interesting. And I have so much stacks of this stuff that I definitely want to try it because, um, we use this stuff. I like to use it. The one thing she wasn't a big fan of is sometimes when you've got a very heavily printed napkin, the second layer picks up some of the dye from the napkin, and she didn't really want that in her paper that she was making. But I thought it would be kind of a cool idea because way back when I started my channel, we did some pressed paper stuff with toilet paper. Okay, Hawaii, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. No, it doesn't, Anne. It didn't stick up her machine. Because there's very, very, very little cornstarch in the water. Oh, Belinda, your back is out? Oh, no. What's happening? I have to find what's happening with Belinda's back. That's way back there somewhere. Sorry, guys, I'm looking back. Oh, sciatica. Oh, yeah, that's not a fun thing at all. No, anyway, it was more water, just a slight hint of cornstarch, so that it, because cornstarch would gum up your spritz bottle too, right? So it was good enough that it could go through her spritz bottle. That, yeah. It, please watch the video that Jean posted. It's really interesting, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, Barbara, toilet paper. So these are the toilet paper flowers and stuff that we did on my live way back at the beginning. So I pressed them into silicone dies, right? But again, I use toilet paper. We did try using some pink tissue paper so that we could have some colored ones. Now, this is just pressed toilet paper and water. There's no glue or anything in it. But I was thinking, because this has a little bit of a shinier finish than toilet paper, right? And it's pretty strong. Like, I can give it a good tug, and it hasn't really come apart, right? No, I wouldn't use the electric one, Jean. This was the Cuttlebug, the hand crank that she used. So I use silicone molds for this. And since I've got this lovely glue water here, I'm going to do it with some glue water. Because like I say, this is just a little, it's got more of a finished texture to it. So when I use toilet paper, I cut it into thin strips because it seems to press in nicer. Now, the other thing I would like to try it with is I have these texture plates. They are for Fimo or something like that. But look at these lovely texture plates. Hey, Pam. Nice to see you. Yeah, my husband uses heat for his cramps too. What are you using, Anne? Pasta press? Yeah, I bet a pasta press would work just as nice. I bet it really would. So I want to try it with some texture plates. I want to squish this up and put some texture plates on. Does that work? Should we try that? My daughter got these plates for me. Evidently, Michael's has them in the Fimo area. They make great, like I do rubbings with them. And yeah, they're fun. So let's try it, right? I've got nothing to lose. A little bit of paper, a little bit of paper, watered down glue. I wonder. Maybe, Jean, maybe. So I'm doing this like I would do it to press it into the molds. I shred it like this to put it in the mold so that some goes this way, some goes that way, so it makes it more solid. I don't even want to go to Michael's anymore, Barbara. I don't know if you heard my rant about it. I was at the Michael's on Dakota, and they had one cashier and she wouldn't serve me. I had to use the self-checkout because they only have one cashier available now and you have to have cash. So I wrote them a nasty letter by email. I wrote them a nasty letter on their Facebook group. I've muttered about them all over Facebook. Not happy. Not happy. Okay. So since the lady who used the Cuttlebug just used flat, I'm going to put a couple of layers of flat, then I'm going to put this shreddy stuff, and then another layer of flat, and we're going to see what happens. I know, Barbara. I was absolutely gobsmacked because seriously, I don't normally carry cash either. But I guess that's their way of doing it, right? People are going to go in and they don't have cash, so then they don't get to have a cashier. Oh. Don't like it. Don't like it. So now I don't want to deal with Michaels at all because to me, those are the jobs that kids in university, like entry level, single moms, women who have been stay-at-home moms or going back to the workforce, those are the kinds of jobs, like retail jobs, are what they get, right? Because not everybody has lots of training, or they have to retrain for things. So by cutting out the cashier jobs at Michael's of all places, I was just, no, I don't want to shop there anymore. I just don't. I do not. Okay, so I've got 2 layers of this stuff with glue water. Seniors discount not available. Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't get my seniors discount. I was just royally irritated. That's not the word I want to use, but I'm trying to be polite. But I'm sure you guys understand. So like I say, I'm using this one because it's got the dye on it, and she didn't want to use the ones with dye in her paper because she wanted them to be nice and white. She did use some coffee when she was spritzing, some of them. Those came out very lovely. Okay, so now I'm just going to take all these shards and I'm going to put them down. I think this is what gives it the stability, right? Because the shards go this way, that way, and the other way. Yeah. Exactly. Because you know what? I probably could have got a big ball of yarn for nothing. Like it didn't scan the first 3 times I tried it. It wasn't on sale or anything. It just didn't scan. Oh, see? Now, this is just coming up every time I touch it because it's not quite the same as doing it into maybe because it needs to be just a little bit wet to hold it down. This is just a spritz of water. This is just plain water in a spritz bottle that's sticking to me. Sticking! Uck! And because it's glue water, it's very sticky. Let's just put another layer of flat paper over it. Yeah. And then, of course, their prices are going to go up because people are going to be able to, self-help themselves to things because they don't want to go through the oops, that didn't scan. I thought it scanned, right? So then things will start going up in price. And I think we pay enough for a lot of what we buy these days. I'm just really, really not happy with Michaels. Ooh, my Amazon order's here. Thanks, hon.
Welcome.
Wow. Yeah, I ordered a whole bunch of t-shirts when I got home and baby onesies because I had planned on making onesies for the baby before I went to see them because We planned on going later in the year, and because we had like an hour's notice, I'd never got anything made, or nothing was really planned. You know how it is. No, 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 Jan, there is not as much. Okay, Barbara, I hope you're rested up. I know that you were having rest issues as well. Yeah, no, there are not as much staff because I couldn't find anybody to help me when I found something and I needed some information about it. So I just ended up buying it. You know, I figured I'm in Michael's. I might as well shop, right? You can certainly see the pink coming through the dies now. This should be a very interesting piece of paper. I can see the texture. Let's see what happens when I pop it. You can guess that too? All right. Oh, Sherry, that's wonderful. Awesome. Sherry likes to send me wonderful ideas. I really appreciate it. Ideas and playing things. I'm going to take a closer look at that when I've pulled this. Okay, so I'm going to pull it off. And I've got the texture. Can you see that texture? Can you see the color? I believe in snaps too. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. And then we're going to test it to see if it's going to be held nice, like if it's going to be tight enough to hold nicely. Because I did smush it down pretty good the way I do when I do the molds. These are the molds I usually use. It's a silicone mold. I don't know where I got it from. I buy things and I don't know where they're from. Yeah. Okay, so I want to put this on a piece of plastic because I don't want it to stick to that paper. Oh, no, Craftalances. Oh, too late. Seriously, I have not cleaned up for a while because Sunday I couldn't even make it down the stairs. This is a piece of parchment paper. It's got paint and all kinds of stuff on it, but at least this, see, it wants to stick to the paper. We don't want it to stick to the paper. We'll put it on that and let it dry. Show you again. So I did it on this texture plate. And like I say, I'm pretty sure she got it at Michael's in like the Fimo section. Fimo and, that stuff. That stuff. Okay, this can go over here to dry. It's not lying flat, guys. But take cash, credit, or debit only. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't shopped at Temu yet. Temu. There's not really anything that I need. But anyway, back to the Amazon order. I'm just all over the place, guys. I haven't, yeah. I want to do onesies for the baby before I went out, and some like Big Brother and baby ones. So I didn't get it done. So came home, ordered t-shirts. They came. I get to design some fun things. So here I have a piece of cardstock. I'm going to be gluing it together because I need a little thick something to help with lifting. You'll see why when I get to it. I will use book page, but by the time you do book page, you're like 5, 6 pages, which is totally fine as well. If that's what you've got, use it. If you've got some cereal box or something, use it. My cereal box is already um, set up for me to do a couple more rude books. Yeah, exactly, Brenda. See, I refuse to use a self checkout because I used to work in the employment industry for people with varying abilities. Quite a few of them have enough ability to be cashiers. So, with the doing away with cashiers, that's a job that they're capable of doing, and they need to work as well, right? They don't want to be segregated that they can't work. So I'm not pulling out my soapbox. I'll try not to anyway. Okay, this is still really wet. How are you? This one's not so bad. I can cut these. Let's work on these. So again, I just glued really thin strips to the back. And I'm just going to cut widely around them for now. This makes, look at how lovely that is. Wouldn't that be lovely if I made some paper buttons with this on the top? They would be lovely, lovely decorative buttons. Exact. You know what, Marguerite? The individuals that I worked with were capable of giving back change. And the reason for that being is I trained them. You do deliver your curbside? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just cutting really nice and close. I was in the training part of it. So I trained them how to give change because I taught people how to pump gas. I got them jobs. Just going between these ones. And I will come back and trim down. Just so I don't have lots of bulk. This is garbage. This little piece is garbage. Look, I'm throwing stuff in the garbage. Yeah, exactly, Anina. That makes sense too. Well, that's just it, Sherry. So many cash registers are different from each other. So I made sure that I knew how to run the cash register. And then I trained yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to trim right against the paper, kind of like a fussy cut. Anyway, it's one of my pet peeves. I refuse to use self checkout. I had to because I was there and I really needed that ball of yarn, unfortunately. Because where I was, there wasn't a Walmart nearby. I probably could have got it at Walmart. So, okay. Cutting into the paper a little bit. That's okay. And just the ends. Give them a snip. Now look at that lovely little strip. That's going to make an awesome edging on the top of a pocket, on the edge of a page. You could fold it over the edge of the page. You could make some page tabs out of it. Yeah, see, that 40% off coupon would entice me too, but I just, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. So, anyway, if you have a napkin that's highly patterned, like this daisy one, I like using it on the thin strips. It makes the thin strips, you know, you can use them for various things. I like to use them, say, on an ATC. A lot of times, what I do is I'll take a thin strip of something and I'll just put it down and build off of it. Yeah, you can put the napkin right onto these kinds of things. It's much harder to do a thin strip of napkin without a backing. Yes, Marguerite. I used to volunteer at the museum that I sold my work at, and they had no problem with me bringing my grandkids in to work alongside me. So I taught my grandkids how to use the cash register there. Taught them some customer service, how to greet people, etc. I think it's important. I think it's important. So there, I've got three lovely, you know, this one's not quite as clustered with the daisies, but it's cute. It's cute. Okay, I'm just going to get these trimmed up, then I can just throw them in my collage fodder. Because I'm still doing that 100-day project. Today is day 10. I have a plan for what I'd like to do. I'm going to do another zine using some napkin and other stuff. But again, if you've got wider strips, think of the lovely tabs that you could make using napkin. Okay, all these little bits can go. What do you guys like to use your napkins for? Exactly, Andrea. I've had my grandkids working in the kitchen with me. I used to make crackers, so I taught them how to make crackers. My granddaughter can make bread. Um, my oldest grandson has helped make rouladen, like slice the meat and roll it and stuff. My younger two helped me make pasta and baking. I just love it. Yeah, Barbara, I do that with gel prints too, but not everybody has gel prints, but everybody can get a package of napkins from the dollar store. And napkins is what we pulled today. So I'm just giving alternate uses for just gluing them down on a piece of paper and doing that, just using them that way. All right, how are you? Okay, this one's not bad. So what I'd like to do with this one is I am going to cut out this flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut down the middle here. And I'm going to fussy cut out this flower. Thanks. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah. See, not everybody has washi tape. Not everybody has all access to all this stuff. So I like to try and show what you can do with what you've got at a reasonable cost without having to go and spend a bazillion dollars. Right? That it's just what I like to do. See, I make my own washi tape. I've got a pad of tracing paper and I make like a master board using very thin things like napkins and tissue paper. And then I kind of collage that down and then I stamp on it and maybe do a little bit of painting and slice it up into washi tape. I cut it all up. I have some here. I will show you. So it's thin like washi tape, and you can tell it's in a bin, right? So it's nice and thin like a washi tape. You can see through it, and you just glue it down because washi tape needs to be glued down anyway. Yeah, you know, but I like to glue it down onto paper so that it's got a little bit more stability. But this I do on tracing paper. And like I say, I treat it like a master board. I glue stuff down and use some paint and stamps and whatever. And then I cut it up. So you can see that's the cork stamp. Cork napkin. That's what I use my napkins for. I have them in a clip. And then I just pull off a piece and use it. Yeah. Yeah. You know, wouldn't that be lovely hair on one of our junkyard dolls? Is Jean still here? We did junkyard dolls, and that would be lovely hair. Anyway, I don't let much go to waste. Okay, I'm cutting. I'm about to cutting out this flower. Yeah, paper dolls too. Mine were paper dolls, sorta. We used what we had, so we're gonna just make this flower pretty. Sort of. I'm hoping that I'm not boring you guys, am I? Like, I'm hoping that there's something we're doing that tweaks your fancy to try something different with your napkins. Yes, you know what? Jean, are you still here? I bet you we could use those for paper beads. Oh, there goes my pump. Sorry. This wet snow stuff that we've got is making my sump pump run. Which means we're getting some groundwater happening, which is really weird because you would think that it's frozen still that deep. Okay, just I don't know where this flower is. Thanks, Barbara. But if you took a whole napkin and glued it onto a piece of paper like this and used one of those triangular shapes, the long, the wide to narrow, I bet you that would roll up lovely into a... What else did I do? What else did I glue onto paper? I'm going to look and we'll see if we can make a paper bead out of it. I have no idea where this flower goes. I'm winging it. We're just going to go like this. And hope that... All right. So, now we can see pretty much where this kind of went the same way this flower did. Doesn't really matter that they match or not. So then what I like to do is take this kind of thing and I cut it into strips. And I will glue a couple more strips together because I want just a little bit more height. Yeah, I can't let stuff go. Have you seen my scrap bins? My scrap bins are just crazy. Okay, so this is like 4 layers of a thinner cardstock. I don't know how heavy it is, but really. So I'm going to do the same thing with these 2. Now, if you were doing a greeting card, we're going to pretend this is a greeting card. We're just going to lop this off. See, look, I've got this stuff glued down. I'll cut it into one of those triangles and we'll try to roll it. Okay. Okay, this is the front of a greeting card. Exactly, Sherry. So now I'm going to cut these into smaller pieces. And I'm going to glue this flower on top of that flower. And we're going to have like a little bit of a 3D effect. Does that make sense to you? So I'm going to put some here because I want that definitely raised. Definitely in the center, I want a bigger piece to hold it. And then these ones I'm going to cut smaller because I'm going to be putting them on the petals. Does this make sense to you guys? I don't know if you guys remember paper towel where we would do like 5 layers of a bird or something and feather it all out. Way back. Of course, if you want to put the original napkin on a piece of cardstock to give it a little bit more stability, that works as well. Now we're just going to put glue on all these risers that we've got. Then we're going to take it and place it kind of on top of this flower. They don't have to be matchy because you just want it so that it kind of sticks out a little bit and gives a hint of a rise. Do you see how that looks? Email address. Yes, they were very helpful with you. So this works really nicely. This is a big flower, but if you're doing it on the front of a card, you could do it with Christmas cards because you can get some really nice Christmas napkins so that you can have the horse and the sleigh kind of thing. Hey, Jeanine, nice to see you. You can have the horse and the sleigh raised that little bit, depending on the napkins that you find for Christmas. But you could make some very, very interesting Christmas cards like this. So anyway, that's another thing that you can do with napkins. You could do this with any kind of paper. I like to do it with napkins because napkins, you get a bunch of them in a box, right? Like, not a box, but in a package, you get 12, 20, whatever. Does that make sense? Anyway, I use napkins to do that with. Now, let's take a look at this. See how this is drying. It's not anywhere near dry yet. She said she leaves hers overnight to dry, and I get it, because that's pretty darn wet. Like when she cranks it through the machine, she leaves it overnight, and I didn't crank it through a machine because I wanted the texture, right? So that's still on the drying board. This one's not too bad. So like I say, we can cut out each and every one of these and use them just as tucks to put in journal pockets. Hope you're good today, Janine. We can do the same kind of thing, cut the heart out and raise the heart the way we did that flower. Again, we could just use that to tuck into a pocket. We could take these two pieces because they're the same size, fold them, use them as a cover of mini journals. You're on an email blackmail list. Okay, so there are many, many things that we can do with these. Let's take these two floral ones because they're cute, and we'll cut out around them. Like I say, I glued it to the back of that zine Jean and I did when we were doing zines together on here. And the nice thing about napkins of this size, like when you've got these kinds of things, they're perfect for doing like the little mini journals that we use for tucking into things. Because when we've got a stapler and we're stapling additional papers in the center, or even if we're just doing a quick stitch to put papers in the center, their little feelings do get hurt, right? So that would make an absolutely lovely little pocket journal cover, right? Okay, Andrea, take care, hon. Have a lovely rest of your day. Have a great nap. Okay, so we can do that kind of thing. Again, like I said, we could take these two hearts and we could do the very same thing that we did with this flower with the hearts. I've got these two down here that I'm just going to cut. And these are just going to be like little tags to go inside pockets in the journals. Right? We're just using up what we've got. They make lovely little pocket stuffers. And they're napkin on paper, right? Like, so it's the same kind of thing. We use our napkins on paper all the time, but we just sometimes need to do something different. Okay, so I've got this piece, and we were talking about doing a rolled bead the way Jean does it. Bubble papers. Awesome. With the blown bubbles, with the dish soap, and you blow bubbles, and you make a really cool thing with a tray of bubbles, Sherry. Okay, so we're just going to trim this extra stuff off because it's not even glued down. I don't think Jean's still here. Jasper, if you're still here, I will definitely send you more details on that. Right. I was also going to try doing one of the paper stuff using the glue water and the napkin backs because I want to see if that works. So let's try the bead first. Okay, so that didn't stick down very good. Because sometimes the napkin doesn't stick down. You want it to make sure that it's good and stuck. So what did Jean say? 1/2 inch and to a point? I can't remember. I don't know if you guys remember. You're here? Okay. I will definitely shoot you more information. Sorry, I had to think. And look at how nicely that tears. So we're going to use that and we're going to roll a bead. Can't remember what I rolled my beads on. Can you guys remember what I rolled my beads on? Was it a skewer? I don't remember. Was it a knitting needle? Oh my. How about if I can't remember. Do you guys remember what I rolled my beads on? Go where? At a crafty garage sale this weekend? Awesome. Awesome, Janine. Yeah, I'm going to use the napkin backs in here with the glue water. Yeah, I probably used a skewer. You're right. You're right. And do I have? Yeah, you know what? I did because it's over here. Right. Because I remember I couldn't get it off that end because it had a big glue thing. Yeah, a double pointed knitting needle would work too. Okay, so you got to roll it reasonably tight. Okay, here we're going. We're going. We're going. We're going. Jean has some lovely digitals of her doodles that she uses for doing this. So now we need some real glue. I'm not going to trust water glue. I'm not gluing the inside. I'm just gluing the very tip. But that's a great idea. Whoop. So yes, that can create a lovely bead. So I'm just going to use glue water on the edge. Oh, look, my brush is gooping up. Just going to give it a coat of glue water on the outside. Just to hold it. Yeah. Magic. A bead with color. It's not shiny like the magazine beads I did, but it's a nice one. Yeah, I've got a cricket too. My punches are the ones that I've got all have dead spots on them. I'm going to just leave that to dry. Might give it another bit of glue because I can. Just want to make sure it stays together nicely. And the night's up. It's alive. It's alive. I got wet glue thing on my desk. No, no, no. The nice thing about using this as well as like a magazine page, the colors don't run. So if I used the stuff from my printer and I put, sometimes Jean uses the clear nail polish. Oh, the napkin is on a piece of paper, Belinda. I glued it to paper before I did this. So, if I was to use paper from my printer, my colors would run when I went to put a coating on them. I think Jean has a different kind of printer because when she does her beads, her colors stay really nice and pristine. We will let that dry. It's in with the markers. Now we're going to try this stuff. We'll make some pressed paper flowers. Sorry, I had to slurp my tea. It kind of surprised me. Okay, so let's take another of those napkin things that has dye on it. You can see it's got some dye. It's not nice and white. So again, I'm just going to cover this glue because I don't want it to dry out. And we're going to cut some slivers and we're going to do a couple of pressed paper flowers. Like I said, the reason I'm using glue water for the napkin paper, it's got a smooth, shiny-ish texture. I'm just showing different ideas to do with napkins today, Jeanine. But we always end up with these middles, the guts of the napkin and what to do with them. So I've glued napkins to paper just to show that it can be done in different uses you can use them for. Because, I mean, we all glue napkins down on our pages and when we do collage or we use napkins for a lot of things. And these, a lot of people stamp on and then have them to use for stamped images because the backgrounds don't show a lot of times when you glue them because they're so really nice and translucent. While I have you guys all here and I'm doing this, I was thinking of doing a bunch of pressed paper flowers for my Etsy shop. Yeah, I know I would actually have to mail them out, but I figured they're light enough that postage shouldn't be too bad. I need to know what kind of a price people would pay for these because I don't scrapbook or anything, right? So, and I've always just made my own stuff, but I know a lot of people don't. So if anybody could give me a clue as to what these kinds of things sell for, I would love to know. Okay, we've got shreds. I'll be able to do something with these shreds. So the first thing I do is I'm going to spritz it with some water, because that way when I start putting this stuff in, they kind of fit down nice. Then I put a little bit of glue on my brush. Yeah, the start is always a big mess. Sticks to you. And I think it's the glue. See, that's why I've only used just water in the past, because of this. It sticks to the glue. Maybe, like I did that other one, I have to put, and it sticks to your fingers. Look at that. Well, not really a fan of using glue water, I can tell you right now. Let's get that wet again. And we're just going to So you want, if you're doing this, you need to have a brush with a stiffer bristle so that you can get the paper into all the nooks and crannies. Normally I dip that in water. Oh, I've got water right here. I can dip it into that water. Hey, Dana, nice to see you. So I am just playing with napkins today, doing various things. But I thought I would take napkin back and make some pressed paper flowers. And because these aren't the same as doing them with toilet paper, I've used some glue water because they have that shiny finish. Okay, Barbara, take care. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. So I figured I would try it using these because, like I say, they've got a bit of a shinier finish than toilet paper, obviously. But I want to see if they'll work. If that makes sense. I'm going to get all these little bits in there. So as I was saying, I was thinking that maybe I could put some of these in my Etsy shop. Ugh. So I've got glue water and I've got regular water. The reason I'm using the glue water is because of that coating they have on them. Needs more on that side. And again, the reason that I use shreds like this is because it makes a stronger finished item. Because the fibers are going this way, that way, and every which way. Oh, my stomach's just rumbling. All right. That side is still very low. Now, when I do these with silicone molds, I look for ones that are shallower like this. Like this one was done in a chocolate mold, so it's very, very thick. Yeah, a spray sealer would definitely work. I've done that with some things. The problem being is I can't use aerosol sprays like that with my breathing issues. So I have to wait for the husband to be kind enough to take it out to the shop and do it for me, which isn't a problem, but he's got things that he's working on. And okay, we will pop this out and see what it looks like. So it looks the same way the other ones did before they dried. You know what, Anne? The paper from the shredder probably would work, but I think you would have to do more of a pulp. Like, I think it would have to go in the blender. To make paper, yeah. I usually put paper through the blender and put it in a screen and press it really hard for it to dry. So this is coming out nice. It's still quite wet. Oh, thanks, Pixie. Yeah, you use your Cuisinart. I have an old kitchen machine that I use strictly for paper. It leaks, so I just figure it's better for paper than using for food. But yeah, if you can find silicone molds, like I say, I shred toilet paper the same way. I just cut it into shreds and I use a stiff brush and straight with water. And that's how these ones were done. Just with water. And they are pretty tough. They dry really tough. But the reason I'm using the glue water is because this has a different finish than toilet paper does. We were talking, Janine, earlier about a video that I had seen. Jean actually posted it earlier in the chat. I'd seen this video where a woman was using the napkin backs and she spritzed it with water mixed with just a little bit of cornstarch for stability. And she kind of layered it. She didn't shred it, anything. She just kind of folded it and misted, folded and misted, so that it was all kind of in even layers of napkin backs. And she put it through her Cuttlebug, like the press. Yes, mason jars do work. The other thing you could use is one of those hand mixers, the hand blenders. This one actually, I don't know if you can see it, but I used the edge, right? I used the edge of the papers. So it had that texture. It's got that texture. Can you see? Right in the middle there. It's got the texture where the edges were pressed. Yeah, a stick blender. Yes, Janine, they would work. The only thing is that you don't want to fill it all the way up, because if it's really thick, like I say, I use chocolate molds. If it's really, really thick, it adds too much bulk in your journals. We did this with what is this? An embossing folder. We did this on an embossing folder. You can see this side much better. Oh yeah, it could before my camera decided that it didn't want to focus. So some of the molds that I have, this we did with my little texture plates. I wanted to see how those worked because I thought that they could be very, very interesting bits of paper. This mold works okay. But you have to be really, really thin. Do really thin layers because it's pretty deep. This mold works really good. I love doing this one, these long things, because they're really nice on spines and things. This one I got, I don't even know, probably, I have a feeling this was the one thing I bought from AliExpress or something like that. They're too small, far too small. They don't work nicely with the papers at all. But I'm sure that the ice molds would be absolutely great. I mean, we've tried resin in these. So I've got some that he added some glitter and stuff into. They're really nice, but I can't get anything to stick to the resin to stick them onto cards or anything. So I'm going to just stick to using my paper shreds. All right. All right, so what have we done today? Not a heck of a much. I showed you that I like to use the really heavy patterned um, napkins on thin strips of paper. I guess, you don't have to have it on thin strips of paper. You could just glue it to a paper and then cut the strips, right? That way you've got various sizes. But I do have to admit, I really like the heavy patterned ones for that. So it's like a faux washi tape. It's still really nice and thin. So we've got those that we did. We did these little pocket tag things for just sticking in pockets in journals. We did a mini journal cover out of them. See, again, you can see where the pattern from the edging press, I don't think you can see it, looks. So, we've got a little wee journal cover. Another thing that I really like to do is glue the paper down onto, or the napkin down onto a paper. And then I like to cut like ovals out of it so that you've got a really beautiful decorative piece to put behind a word. Craft like a duck. That's awesome. I'm going to have to check that out. Can you put that in a messenger message to me, Sherry, so I can click on it? Because if I do it now, who knows where I'm going to go. Okay, so shreds, this. What else have we done with napkins? As I say, they make great backgrounds. I like the heavy printed ones like this and this for doing like a washi tape kind of thing. These ones I like to glue down and then cut out the squares and use them as tags. Fast, simple, ready to go. This one I would glue down to paper and then cut all these elements out to use in collage. This one I am just going to tear pieces off and just glue it into a zine. Actually, I might have to. Let's just do it. Let's not put anything on top of that. It's still wet. We'll put these ones over here to dry some more. I'm going to use this green zine. This is that paper that I got from the dollar store the week before. Because I was saying that I want to do zines for the 100 days of the 100-day project. So I bought 25, it was a pack of 25 papers, and they had nice colors. Oh, Eileen McInnes? Yes, she's fabulous. She's Canadian too, isn't she, Sherry? So anyway, this paper is so thin. Okay, so this is the side that is the book. I'm just going to tear pieces because I have to do my day 10 and I'm doing a zine for it, and I want to use this napkin. So I'm just going to do that while I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, isn't that wonderful? I just love it. So I'm just going to tear off, bits, and I'm going to just put some on each page. I'll trim it after. Don't really want straight edges, so I'm going to tear that. Pieces like this. I'm going to start off this zine with bits like that throughout. And the other thing with napkins is you have to decide, like, sometimes I get, and I put the wrong side up. You know. Yeah, I really like these. Like, I'm not one for natural colors as a rule, but this is fun. I thought this was a really nice napkin because I do so many florals. So, whoop. I'm thinking. Thank you, Sherry. I'm thinking that this side. I will do a floral in this scene, and I'm not sure what else. And do you find that you always end up with so much napkin left over, guys? Really? But when you buy a pack of napkins and you got 20 of them, it's not hard to actually throw these kinds of bits out. Or I don't find it hard, which is weird because normally I save this. These ones I will save. These little drippy ones, no, they can go. See, look, I'm putting them in the garbage. So I'm just going to glue these down while we're chatting. So do you guys have any ideas of what you do with your napkins? I'm always looking for new ideas as well. So if anybody's got something that they do that I haven't covered today, and I know that there's lots of stuff out there to use them for. I like the idea of the beads. But seriously, like I said, this paper that I'm gluing it down to, so thin. The last, no, it wasn't the last zine that I did for the challenge. That was an old one that I'd started. That was on real paper. Not that this isn't real paper, but it's so thin. You know. Okay, anybody? Living in a box for several years? Yeah. Awesome, Anne. And the cool thing about napkins, especially if you've got like lots of cut tags and they're sitting in a bin somewhere, you're going, what am I going to do with these? Cover them in the napkins, use them as the background. I've got lots of stuff that I have used napkins on tags for. In fact, some of those, my floral collage cards have napkins as backgrounds. And I think even some of the bookmarks that we did had napkin backgrounds. Next week is bookmarks, guys. We're doing bookmarks next week. So you'll need some sort of base and some collage fodder. Look at how this is rippling this paper. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea, Barbara. That's a great idea. Barbara says to paint white on the back of the napkin if you want the background to stay visible. So I will be finishing this zine today because it's my day 10 project. It will be posted on Instagram and in my group later. Oh, I don't know. Can you see how rippled this paper is? Like, it's just bubbling all over creation. I can't, my goodness. I'm going to have to let this dry really well. Will I do a Sunday afternoon after the print? And I might. Because I was thinking the print-in would be 2 hours. And so if we start at 10:45, and I usually do my lives at 12:45, could certainly do that. Could certainly do that. If anybody would be interested. Even if they're not, I could still do it. I've always got something to do. Yeah, I use napkins, tissue paper. They're all part of the collage element for me, right? To me, they're like a collage fodder. And since that's kind of what I'm working on for the 100-day project, 100 days of using collage fodder, I already lost one day of that because we traveled all day, but I did knit in the car, so I got some dishcloths done. The print in is, you made napkin strips, Jan? Fabulous. Fabulous. The print in is a bunch of us are getting together on my channel and we are using gel plates. And there's going to be different categories of what to use on the gel plate: stencils, found objects. Can't remember them all now. I've got a list. Stamps, kitchen items, I think. And so what's going to happen is, depending on how many of us there are, we'll just have a few on screen at the same time for a time, and they will all be doing, say, stencils. And they'll be showing you how they do their stencils, while in the background, the other people will also be doing stencils. And then after so many minutes, we will show what we did with our stencils and the different effects kind of thing, so that we'll explain how we got that effect or the stamps or whatever. So Jazzy, yeah, I don't think that we're going to combine anything all at once. That we could definitely, though, or you could definitely do a stencil, and for the next segment, if you want to put a stamp on top of the stencil, whatever, that we're going to do it that way to get a variety of prints. If you do not have a gel plate, I will be using my alternate to a gel plate so that you can see how it works, similar but different. That will be 10:30 Central. 10:30 in the morning Central. Yeah, I've got the message beside me, Jasper. Thank you. It is really gorgeous on that green paper. Look, I've got shreds. This is what happens when you don't clean your desk. Everything attaches to what you're doing. I really do like it on the green paper as well. But that is really, really wet. But that's just fine. It will have a chance to dry before I work on it later. But yeah, I don't think that this paper is much thicker than a napkin. Seriously, it is brutally thin. But I'm just using it for zines, and like the zine that I did for Jasper and Raoul's Valenzine hop, I'll probably be doing more of things on like a ATC and then putting it in the zine, because we only had 15 minutes to do the zine. 15 minutes to show how we make the zine and put it together. And it was Valentine's Day themed, or what love is to you. So I originally did this one, and it was all kind of put together before, but the recording didn't work because I don't know how to record videos. So then I had to do this one, and because it was only 15 minutes, I made all the elements beforehand and on a strip and just glued them in to the zine. So this is going to be the same kind of thing. I'll put these papers that I've got folded, ready to go. Oh my goodness. Yep, that didn't want to be up there either. I will do them on separate papers and glue them in, because gluing right onto them and then more layers is going to be crazy. I think 15 minutes is too short, Jasper. Yeah, I'm thinking that when we're doing the print in, we will have like 20 minutes to do it with a stencil. That should give enough time for the paint to dry. You guys will each be able to talk about how you're putting the paint down, the colors you're using, if that's what you want to do, etc. And then everybody will do that step of it. The people from behind will be able to come up and explain what they did. $10:30 Central, yes. So then I figured that everybody would have 20 minutes on screen to do that step. Then the other people would come forward and explain their step in the 10-minute time slot. And then we would go on to the next thing, which would be like doing another layer or whatever, if that's how we do it. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be a very ripply, interesting sounding zine. That's off there to dry. All right, guys. I don't really have much else to show you, tell you. You know, we did more guts than we did with the original, um, napkin parts. But like I say, I kind of do this so that it's got, that step up. As I say, you can use anything for this. Yeah, true, Marguerite. But 15 minutes, yeah, it took a bit. Hey, Joni, nice to see you, hun. Nice to see you. All right, 3D effect, almost like a paper towel, but cheaper. And I use napkins, little bits of paper underneath just to give it that little bit of a step up. You can make them higher, shorter. If you're doing a floral kind of thing, this is great. This is great for doing cards. Even like a lighthouse. I can see doing a lighthouse. I could see doing rocks. I could see all kinds of things doing it this way. But again, like I say, that would be more for a card because if you're trying to put this in out of a pocket in a journal, it's going to get all kerblubbled, right? So we did that. We did the this where we used the guts on a um, texture plate, and we're going to see how that dries. And then we did, of course, one of the pressed paper flowers. I think that's it, guys. I think that's pretty much all we covered. Wow. Not much of anything, but I had fun. I appreciate you guys all for being here. Thank you so much for popping in. If you play with any of these, oh yeah, the strips, we did the strips. If you play and the bead, guys, we did the wooden bead, the paper bead. Look at how nicely a napkin turns into a paper bead. Put it down on a piece of paper, cut it, roll it. It works lovely. Lovely colors. Lovely colors. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Hugs to you all. I will see you Friday. I'm not sure if Jean's going to be able to play, but I hope so. And other than that, we've got the print in on Sunday. And I will be talking to you guys and getting that all our ducks in a row. Take care, everybody. Big hugs to you and see you soon. Bye now.